What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Happy Sunday, everybody. Okay, 3 videos today besides the interview I did with Andy, because I think that one of the most important interviews Jesse Michels has ever done just dropped, in my opinion, because there's a person that really does look at the whole picture. If you guys are not familiar with, Peter Levenda is one of the most interesting authors, and not just the UFO topic, but also the occult, secret societies. He has a wonderful book called Unholy Alliance that talks about this. He also wrote the Simon Necronomicon, and he most famously wrote the Secret Machines nonfiction books alongside Tom DeLonge. And in this interview with Jesse Michels, they spoke for 4 hours and 40 minutes. Throughout history, there's been a lot of different signs and clues that there may have been some sort of intervention from a higher civilization thousands of years ago that even had the potential to have created religions in this iteration of civilization. That is a really sensitive and provocative subject that I think needs to be explored more. And Jesse does talk about this at length with Peter Levenda and the latest American Alchemy. And I just got to play you guys this clip, and we can talk about it afterwards too, just so you guys can check it out. So here's Peter Levenda talking to Jesse Michels about the potential of these ancient civilizations having created humanity and given them new knowledge and religions and all that. So here it is.
So do you think, like in your actual model of reality, do you think that, at the advent of kind of the agricultural revolution, where you get writing, urbanization, history all begins, mythology begins, that there was an initial contact event with people from the stars?
Right. That's our thesis.
Yeah.
It's our Ur point, as we call it. This is when everything really began, because it appears as though we lived on the planet for a long time, not really caring about any of that stuff. Right. We were happy.
Yeah.
And then suddenly there's these beings that come down and say, no, you got to write, you got to keep track, and you got to have numbers. And, and besides, look at the stars. Did you ever look up? Did you ever wonder like what all that's about? So, and suddenly we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so we're doing that. Can you imagine the Babylonians, the impetus behind the Sumerians and the Babylonians, the Akkadians, to stare at the night sky and chart those stars?
It's amazing. And that, I mean, all the Graham Hancock, Robert Schoch stuff, like the most interesting part about all of it is how astronomically aligned all of this ancient megalithic architecture is to the stars. Not only to the stars, but to like the alignment of the stars in like 10,500 BC.
Right.
It's fascinating.
It's fascinating because not only they didn't have telescopes, obviously, but the fact that they would, because you don't have a telescope, you have to sit there and watch it for hours. You've got to mark the passage of these things. The planets is one thing, right? The sun and moon is like the obvious ones, right? They're easy to see. But then once you get past that, you're talking about the other planets. You have to notice that there is certain planets that don't stay in the same place as the other ones do. That's the beginning. So you're starting to keep track of that. And then you're keeping track of the background stars that don't move, right? Or they move like in a circular motion. The amount of work that requires, the amount of attention to detail. And you have to be writing at that point. There's no other way to keep track, right? You can't memorize it. So you're writing all of this down. So that's integrated with the idea of writing, language, and numbers. It's all integrated with the math of astronomy. You need both of those things to understand what's happening, right? To keep track, to keep a record. That to me is amazing. Why do that?
And it's a quantum leap from being a hunter-gatherer.
Absolutely.
It's a just a huge jump.
What they discuss here is something that I've been talking to Dr. Celestino Piotti for a while. And one of the main theses that the potential for the Nazca beings to have existed is this as well. It's like there seems to have been some sort of interaction between non-human intelligence and ancient cultures. And it happened all around the world. And this is something that we keep going back to. Like there are a lot of consistent patterns in different civilizations telling their history. There's a consistent pattern of a flood myth. There's a consistent pattern of giants. There's a consistent pattern of like the Thoth figure in different civilizations that is named differently. In some places, they know him as Thoth. In some places, they know him as Quetzalcoatl, and so on. So there is this underlying sort of familiarity between different civilizations that have attempted to imprint their history in either parchment or tablets, where they do talk about similar things. Depending on the civilization, it varies. So I don't know what you guys think about this idea that even potentially religions came from these beings. I know that that is a controversial topic. Do you think that we really are part of the human evolution process that this guy talked about? I don't know if you guys have noticed, but this is Charles Darwin. And I have him there because there is a belief that Charles Darwin was right about his evolution theory for the most part, for the majority of living beings in the world, except for humans. And yeah, this is also a controversial take. I know that there's a lot of biologists and even potentially paleontologists who don't agree with this, who think that Charles Darwin was on the money about every living being in the world. But if you really look for patterns and if you really look for information about the actual extent of human history, there are many inconsistencies, starting with our DNA, the massive difference between our most recent species and us, the Homo sapiens. The differences are staggering. We are like arguably the smartest hominid out of all that group, but we're still very primitive, still. And so we're trying to look into our real history. And I don't know if you guys agree with this idea from Peter Levenda, but he has been doing research on this for decades now. And I think that it would be probably a good idea to listen to what he has to say. Also, those books, The Secret Machines, I think are an essential part of UFO literature. And it's one of the most recent additions to the whole pantheon of authors. But they really did encompass a large part of what could potentially be going on through evidence, documentation, inside information that I think shouldn't be disregarded. I think people should pay attention to what Peter Levenda and Tom DeLonge have to say about this, because they're very well informed. They grab the attention of people of the highest spheres in government, the intelligence community, the sciences, even some of the religions. And that's because they're probably onto something. I don't know what you guys think about it, but I would love to hear your reaction about it. Where do you think, for example, Tom DeLonge's entire knowledge about these old gods, myths, came from?
Around the time of the ancient Greek civilization, these gods came in and they passed down a huge amount of knowledge. That's when we got the alphabet, and that's when we really got into all the mathematics and everything that we know that comes with the ancient Greek civilization. I put down a question where I said, it looks to me that these gods came down here and they tampered with the Sumerian civilization, and then they started fighting amongst themselves, and then mankind started to factionalize. Well, something happened with those gods fighting other gods, that we have all those ancient myths of Olympus and the Titans and all of that stuff. After that, it seems to me that the gods stuck around and they started playing up the different religions between mankind. So we can now be so entertained fighting each other that this intelligence can roam around the planet to do whatever else it is it's trying to do, whether it's trying to tamper with the DNA of mankind, or it's trying to figure out how to harness a human being's soul. Whatever it might be after, I'm not totally sure. Everything in those early advisory group communications were fine, but when I touched on the idea of hybrids in the human soul is when all the communication stopped on that thread. So I have to look at that as something that I shouldn't have been going into at the time.
You think he was briefed about it by generals and all that, the people that he's been talking to? Let me know what you think in the comments. And let me know what you think about Peter Levenda's work overall. it was a wonderful, wonderful interview. Kudos to Jesse for this one. And let me know. I'll be reading in the comments. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to like, share, hype, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. That's all you need to do in order to help us, and it is what helps us the most. So thank you. But if you want to support us in other ways, there's a few links down there you can choose from. You can become a member on YouTube, or you can also support us through KGRA. Anything you choose to do is always appreciated, so thank you. That's it for me today on this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, stay curious and inquisitive, like Peter Levenda, always. Oh, by the way, I have an interview with Peter, and I'm going to leave in the description. It's from months ago, but you guys got to listen to it. Bye.